From his 7,000 acres of no-till crops to switching from synthetic fertilizer to now using regenerative or wastewater as plant food, Kelly Garrett is extremely carbon conscious.
I believe in being collaborative with Mother Nature, not in competition. And this is a collaborative effort.
There's no doubt Kelly is a forward thinker. He says he was the first farm in the U.S. to sell carbon credits, and now he thinks there's a new opportunity for farmers to possibly cash in.
I believe in 5 years, almost every product that we buy, especially food-wise, will have a CI score affixed to it. And I think as producers, we need to educate and be at the forefront of that.
CI score stands for carbon intensity score. He says now with the 45Z tax credit that will go into effect January 1st of next year, your CI score will soon be worth even more, especially if your corn goes to an ethanol plant.
It states that for every point an ethanol plant can get below 50 on their CI score, there's a 2 cent per gallon tax credit. The ethanol plants don't have a lot of hope of getting below 50, very far at least, without traceability of our product, of our corn.
Kelly says by his calculation, for every point below the current average score of 29.1 in ag, it's worth 2 cents a gallon or 5.5 cents per bushel of corn.
My score is a -6 because of the no-till, the cover crops, the regenerative things I do. So my score is 35 points below the average. If you take 35 times 5.5, that's $1.92.5 per bushel.
Seeing how crucial farmers' CI score will be to ethanol plants in the years ahead, Kelly saw a new opportunity for more than just himself. So he teamed up with Peter Meyer, Jared Creed, and Mike Busing to create Regenerative Roots Solutions to educate all farmers.
The four of us got together here in the last couple months and really trying to hone in on what the opportunities are for our network combined, specifically geared towards these CPG programs and 45Z tax credit coming down the pipeline.
Peter Meyer says a farmer's CI score is based on the GREET model, and an essential update to the model is expected soon from EPA.
The GREET model here was just all for ethanol for cars, and now we're talking about a whole different energy source in sustainable aviation fuel.
And now with 45Z, the new tax credits for ethanol plants will also hinge on CI scores from farmers.
What I'm advocating for is that this very much is a partnership with an ethanol plant. The tax credit is available to the ethanol plants, not to farmers, but the ethanol plant, again, doesn't have a lot of hope of gaining much of this tax credit without traceability to us.
The ethanol business cannot survive without the farmer. And this has to be, as Kelly Garrett said earlier, this has to be a 50-50 partnership.
The team at Regenerative Roots Solutions admits it's still a bit of the wild, wild west when it comes to carbon and how much your CI score is worth. But Creed says more clarity is coming.
10, 15 years ago, there's a tremendous amount of angst when ethanol started to come into the marketplace. And then here most recently, the renewable diesel space of expanding the soybean crush in the U.S. market. And ultimately, all we've done is continue to create more domestic demand for our products as we've become less competitive with the rest of the world at exporting our product. The market dynamics have changed.
The team's goal is to provide transparency and information to growers. But today, the biggest challenge is just how much misinformation is out there.
Well, there's an incredible amount of skepticism with farmers, starting with the carbon market as a whole, things like that, government intervention. You know, I think farmers are eternally skeptical. And, you know, a lot of times we've been sold a bill of goods, so you can't necessarily blame all the people. But then when it comes into a CI score, how it's calculated, is the government telling us how to raise our corn, things like that, that's where a lot of it stems from.
Mike Busing has already taken a deep dive into the carbon markets. Through his company, Windy Ridge Ag, they handle the data collection for growers on current carbon programs available today.
Over the last 4 years, we've brought a little over $10 million back to our grower base. So pretty incredible, and that's what we hope to do with Regenerative Roots.
While those are one-year contracts, Busing says 45Z has the potential to be a longer-term, steady revenue stream for farmers.
Data is going to be the key piece of that. We would all love to just have our growers say, walk in with a piece of paper, right, that says my CI score's 10, right? Pay me for my grain. However, there will be a large data piece of this. It's going to have to go through third-party verification, things of that nature. So everything is tracked. We know the data is good. So the ethanol plants can acquire that tax credit.
A new opportunity for farmers to cash in. The team at Regenerative Roots doesn't see this as a fad.
I think there is already a smorgasbord of different programs that the producer is participating in, whether that be carbon programs, whether that be CPG programs. I think this is just the icing on the cake, and it's all again in an effort to continue to find additional demand opportunities for the crop domestically with less dependency on the rest of the world.
What we're advocating is for the farmer to be educated about what practices he or she can employ in other words to reduce their carbon intensity score, to make it a little bit more palatable for the GREET model, and thus end up with more money in their pockets at the end of the day.
And the best part for Garrett is he doesn't have to change any production practice on his farm or adopt something new to qualify.
Well, like most things in life, this is luck for me. These are things I was already doing.
Present day, I think there's a significant amount of producers that feel that their practices already have them ineligible, but again, the product offerings continue to expand, that there's a special niche for every single operation out there.